And welcome to the HSGameTime Live Blitz. I'm Fernandez. This is the big ticket, Kyle Glaser. And KG, we're going to recap all these CIF championship games and preview these guys taking on St. John Bosco.
It's amazing, Pep. We're already at state playoff time. I feel like it was only a couple weeks ago. We were back at D-Dogs, beginning of the season,
right,
trying to figure out what was going to happen.
You're really right. And we're here at Adrenaline Athletic Training in Corona. We got to thank them once again for hosting us. And a little bit later in the show, we've got a very special treat to wrap up the high school football season. Local star rapper Landon Lane, a.k.a. Legend, standing by. And Kyle, this is going to be a hit song. I know it. You're already pumping out the lyrics. It's called the HSGameTime Anthem.
Hey, I love it. I mean, we heard this guy first for the Redlands versus Rev game.
That's right.
And he came out and really blew us away. I remember listening like, wow, you know, good beats, good lyrics. I liked it. But he's come out with something bigger now, a little more comprehensive for a larger geographic area. We're going to get a listen at that and then talk to the man who made the magic. That's
right. It's going to include a lot of schools, a lot of local players, and we think it's going to be a big hit. We're going to make the world debut, the premiere, right here on the HSGameTime Live Blitz. All right, first let's go to the CIF championship games from this past Friday. We'll start with these guys. Centennial knocking off Vista Marietta, and surprisingly, Kyle, it was the defense for the Huskies.
Yeah, you know, the Huskies defense really got torched in the semifinal game, gave up 56 points to Upland. Throughout the season, they'd had some rough games, giving up, 40-plus points against St. Bonaventure, Long Beach Poly, Alamany. This was a unit that a lot of people were questioning. They came out and shut down a very, very good offense. You have to give a lot of credit to the coaches and the players of this Centennial defense for coming up big and really playing their best game of the year when they needed to.
All right, so that was the Inland Division, and credit to Centennial as they go on to the Open Division Southern California Championship game. We'll talk a little about that in just a couple minutes. Now we go to the Central Division, and wow, it was an absolute battle down to the wire. Heritage falling in an early hole, only to see the Patriots battle back and beat the Rancho Verde on their home field.
Really an incredible comeback by the Patriots. We had talked on the show that we felt like if Rancho Verde got out ahead, it'd be tough for Patriot to come back just because of the style of football they played. Well, they proved us all wrong. They were down big, got 2 touchdowns late, and held on. First CIF championship for Heritage. We knew they were a good team. This elevates them, I think, to being a great team. Big win for them, on the road against a good opponent, coming back like that. That's one I think everyone involved will remember for a very long time.
Great senior class, obviously. Matthew Palmer, Lima Haifo, Sione Taki, Evan Rodriguez. And actually, their quarterback's a sophomore. Aliva Hifo's a young guy. I mean, this could be the beginning of a very good run for Heritage.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves and start predicting multiple championships, but getting that first one was definitely big. This was a program who had gotten close before but hadn't quite gotten it. Now that they've got it, we'll see if they can continue rolling in the future years.
In the Eastern Division, Citrus Hill taking on Norte Vista, and it was pretty much Hawks from the get-go, although Norte Vista did score first, and Victor Gonzalez had a huge game for the Braves, but pretty much all Citrus Hill in this one.
Yeah, the Hawks were dominant on both sides of the ball, and give Citrus Hill a lot of credit. I really, truly believe that the 2 best games they played all year came in the semifinals and the finals. Talk about peaking at the right time. Eric Zomalt and staff got those kids performing at their best at the right time, and that's why Citrus Hill is a back-to-back champion. 4th title in 7 years. You know, they really are becoming a dynasty at the lower levels. We'll see if they get moved up in future years, but I think the Hawks are pretty much showing everyone that they are the class of the Eastern Division, and they have been for years. But 4 in 7 years, one of which was an East Valley Division title, it's a pretty impressive run.
And didn't you say the semifinal game with Novi was the championship?
I thought it was. No, you know what? At the time, you looked at what was happening. Norte Vista and San Gorgonio were the teams that were playing at the best at that point. Novi had gone up to Oak Hills and played very well. Citrus Hill, in similar conditions, went up to Apple Valley and didn't fare as well against a lesser team. So that's what it looked like. It looked like Sanji and Novi were the 2 teams rolling. And once again, Citrus Hill, starting with that semifinal game against Moreno Valley, came out guns a-blazing. They were disciplined. They were good on offense and defense. No penalties of consequence, no turnovers. Didn't turn the ball over in either game. As a result, they're champions, scoring 60 and 66 in the semifinals and the finals. Really impressive performance for them.
Yeah, I think that's what really jumped out at me as well, just how big they won in these late games in
Both were
November,
over by
December.
halftime. I mean, it was really just, quick, get in, do your work, go home.
As opposed to what I mean for Norte Vista, because they always lose when I'm around. I think I'm actually good luck for Citrus Hill because they actually blow schools out when I'm on the sideline. So, and in the East Valley division, Harupa Hills essentially having no problem with St. Margaret's. The Spartans jumped out in front, and they really never looked back. I think it was 41-24, the final score. Now they moved to the Eastern Division, but for now they're still celebrating that East Valley Division championship.
Getting that first one is always huge. And we talked about Citrus Hill. Their very first championship came in the East Valley Division, moved up a year later, and won the Eastern Division championship. It'll be interesting to see if Harupa Hills can duplicate that. Obviously, it'll be tough because Citrus Hill's still there. But the Spartans, they're going to have a shot at some success here in the Eastern Division in the coming years.
All right, Kyle, let's check out our HSGameTime Top 10 rankings. Our final rankings of the season as we wrapped up the CIF Championships this past Friday. Pretty much going according to course. Heritage did leapfrog Rancho Verde, and Citrus Hill climbed up to number 5. Any surprises here, or pretty much holding form?
No, I think it's pretty much holding form. One thing that's interesting is you talk about what the rankings were at the beginning of the year. They kind of, things changed over the course of the year, but they ended up not too dissimilar. Citrus Hill was ranked, around there at the beginning of the year, dropped out. They're back up there by the time the year ends. Centennial was the clear number 1, dropped to number 2. Now they're back at number 1. So a lot of teams that, moved around over the course of the season, by the time our final rankings came out, a lot of them were back where they started.
So that's our HSGameTime Top 10 for the season, and one of those schools in the Top 10 is Santiago. The Sharks bowed out of the playoffs in the quarterfinals against Upland, and Kyle, in that game, the Sharks saw one of their linebackers, Jordan Walker, injured. He's still recovering at a hospital in Fontana, and I want to call up this graphic because the Santiago football team will be holding a fundraiser for Jordan next week. It's the at the pole position in Corona, kind of go-karts out there. So it's next Wednesday, December 18th, from 6 to 9 p.m. So if you have a chance, go out there, help support the Santiago football team, and more importantly, Jordan's family, because it's not cheap, with these medical bills piling up. So it's a great cause, and there's the information on your screen. It's next Wednesday.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see the community rally and support. We saw, when Tyler Llewellyn passed, we saw really the entire city of Riverside really rally around Arlington and the family and try and help them in any way they could. Jordan Walker obviously is still with us, and but once again, it's been really cool to see the entire inland area really come together and try and help his family and his school get through this process. We saw them raise a lot of money during the Centennial Upland game. They're doing more fundraising now. So, it's always cool to see just people coming together for a good cause and remembering, these are children, this is a game, and anytime tragedy strikes, good people come out of the woodwork and want to help, as they should.
Absolutely. Now, Centennial wearing the number 55 for Jordan Walker. They've got at least one more game with the 55 on their helmets because they're taking on St. John Bosco in the Open Division Southern California Regional Championship. St. John Bosco, what can you say? They're ranked number 1 in the nation according to some polls. Obviously, the top team in the state. They won the Pac-5 division. But I don't know, I got a feeling they haven't seen a team like Centennial quite yet. What's your general impression going into this contest?
Well, talking to coaches all around the area, we're talking some big names here, Henry Rawlinson at Mater Dei, and just all across the area. Our reporters have been at it all week trying to get a feel for it. And it's pretty unanimous from opposing coaches who are well-respected. They all think St. John Bosco is going to win and win pretty comfortably. On the one hand, you can say Bosco hasn't seen a team like Centennial. Well, Centennial hasn't seen a team like Bosco. Depending on what ranking you choose, Bosco's either number 1, number 3, or number 5 in the nation. Their average game this year was a 48-14 victory, and that came against the Pac-5 and the Trinity League within the Pac-5, which is insane. As good as the Inland Division is, the Pac-5 is better, and the Trinity League in particular. They beat Mater Dei twice, 24-2, 34-7. They're hot, they're rolling. They have a dozen guys, literally a dozen guys, who are legitimate, not just D1 prospects, but 4- and 5-star prospects. They have the players. That talent has translated into victories. And I think, by any measure, you look at strength of schedule, you look at talent on the field, you look at expectations from people in the know, Bosco is going into this game as a comfortable favorite. Now, you never count Centennial out, ever. They're always a threat. With that offense, Bosco maybe hasn't faced a Matt Logan offense before, so that's an advantage. But the Huskies there's not a lot of people who expect the Huskies to win. Once again, never count them out. But,
I mean,
Bosco's crazy, crazy good. That's the best way to say it.
I kind of see this matchup if you want to size it up, as the De La Salle State Championship from last year. Everyone thought De La Salle was unbeatable. And if you look back, Centennial fell behind early and had to play catch-up the entire game. They actually made it a very close game in the third quarter. You're right. Everyone's picking Bosco. Is it out of the question that Centennial wins? No, I feel like they're so explosive on offense, and we saw last week, further proof, evidence that their defense can rise to the occasion when need be. But I think everything will have to fall into place. But I'm believing in Matt Logan and the Huskies, and I think they've got a real shot.
Yeah, counting Centennial out is bad. You should never count them out. They will compete in every game they play. But I think that they might need a little bit of help from St. John Bosco. If St. John Bosco goes out there and plays their game, they should probably come out on top. But if they make some mistakes, Centennial can take advantage of some penalties. Maybe, get, a shanked punt. It's going to be the little things that are really going to give Centennial a chance. If those little things don't happen, it's hard to see. I will say that Harbor City Narbonne went in last year in the SoCal regional game as a heavy favorite similarly, and Centennial went in and won.
Yes.
So we asked a couple people, okay, is this like that? And a lot of the coaches said no, because Narbonne did have some holes. Quoting, once again, this is off the record, so I don't want to quote the coach directly here, but he said, Narbonne had holes. Bosco has no holes. There is no weakness on that team. So that's why that coach, whose opinion I trust, thinks this is different. But we'll see. Either way, this is going to be an incredible game. You got, 20-plus, Division I kids.
That's right. 2
incredible programs with long, successful histories. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think everyone who participates in it should be, A, proud that they got there, and B, proud that they get the chance to play against talent like this. No matter who wins or loses on Saturday night, it's going to be a heck of an experience.
Yeah, it's going to be a real who's who on the field with all these D1 caliber players. And Centennial, well-versed in going to state playoff games. And actually in our newspaper today, if you checked out Wednesday's Press Enterprise, we have a poll right now on our website where you can vote for your favorite Centennial team of all time. We've got the 2007 squad, 2012, 2008, 2000, and 2010. This is relatively a young school that's had a lot of success in the past decade, 12, 13 years. And we want to hear from you guys who you think or what year was the best Centennial team, because they've had a lot of good players. And speaking of who's who, Kyle, if you read this, you read these names, you're like, wow, they were all on the same team at Centennial?
Oh, it's crazy to think about. Some of the talent that's been there, from Vontez Perfect to Taylor Martinez to Matt Scott to Brandon McGee. It's just name after name after name after name. And it's tough to pick. I don't think there's any real wrong answer when you ask, okay, which Centennial team was better, 07, 08, even 2012. There's so many teams to choose from. You can't really go wrong with any of them.
All right, so Centennial, St. John Bosco, Saturday night at Cerritos College. And we'll have coverage of it, including video highlights on Saturday night here at HSGameTime. All right, so the regular season and postseason over for everyone but Centennial. So let's pass out some postseason awards, Kyle. How about let's go with defense. Who's your defensive player of the year?
For me, it's got to be Curtis Bolton. The guy was absolutely unreal this season. 29 tackles for a loss, I believe, 13 sacks. Was really the heart and soul of that Vista Murrieta defense that kept making plays. Even in the championship game, Vista Murrieta forced 3 turnovers from the Centennial offense. They also had a muffed punt that they scooped up. You don't intercept Robert Weber very often.
No.
Vista Murrieta's defense did their job, holding Centennial to 26 points. So I think, for me, Curtis Bolton was the leader of that defense. I think from start to finish this year, that was the best defense we had. And at the end of the day, that's why Curtis Bolton is my defensive MVP. What about you, Pep?
Bolton as well. I think you pretty much summed it up. Whenever we had video highlights back from the Vista Murrieta games, I just expected Bolton to be in the highlights, and he was. I think one game we had, it was a playoff game. I can't remember who it was against. He had
Charter Oak, 7 sacks.
Yeah, 7 sacks. There it is. So, he was in the highlights every week, and that Vista Murrieta defense was awesome, and he was their ringleader, definitely. Now let's go to offense. I'll throw mine out there. Not a big shocker. I'm going with Trey Watson. You can't really – you could say some other names. I just won't believe you. It's Trey Watson.
No, I agree. I think that as good as, Corey Young was and Colton Gerhart was and Robert Weber was, Trey Watson put up all-world numbers this year, set a bunch of records that we'll go over a little bit later in the show, and really was the guy that made that Centennial offense go. They had some receivers step up. They obviously had Robert Weber, but Trey Watson, big game, rose to the occasion every single time, including in the championship game.
All right, and your overall most valuable player, offense, defense, special teams, whatever.
So, it's kind of how you define most valuable, but I think most valuable might be Corey Young. I mean, what he did for Norco this year, while there were a lot of good players on that team and a lot of good things happened for them, I think Corey Young is one of the big reasons why Norco was able to overcome, all that was going on with, the transfers. And it wasn't just the big three. They lost some depth guys. And I think at the end of the day, if you take Corey Young off of Norco, it's a very, very different season for them and not in the right direction.
All right, I'm going with, and this is kind of a cop-out because I have a co-MVP.
Okay.
It's kind of my style. Brett Hollingsworth, quarterback at Citrus Hill.
Absolutely.
I just feel like he had a monster year. We weren't really sure what Citrus Hill had because he transferred over and they lost a lot of players. Obviously, they didn't miss a beat. So they went to the championship and did it in impressive fashion. I'll go with Brett Hollingsworth, as well as Heritage's Lima High Hefo.
Definitely.
I mean, star linebacker, punishing running back on offense. I mean, every time they needed a big play, he was there on both sides of the ball. So I would split it between Lima High Hefo and also Brett Hollingsworth at Citrus Hill.
Definitely wouldn't argue with those.
And Kyle, it was also a year of records being broken. And I know you've got a couple. Let me do Michael Stewart, because that's all I got. I don't know the other numbers, so I'll let you break out the other numbers. And I got some Michael Stewart video here as well. Michael Stewart, now the Inland Area career catches leader with 194. He passed the great Khalil Sharp, who played at Murrieta Mesa and wrapped up his career last season. He's also number 3 in career receiving yards. Now, we spoke with head coach Dennis Gregovich at Talkwitz. He wanted to know if where Michael Stewart ranks in the southern section, not just the inland area, but the southern section in terms of career catches. He thought he might be approaching the top spot. Come to find out, he's about 12th on that list. I think the career mark is like 281.
Something crazy.
Yeah, something when Canyon Country a couple years ago was throwing the ball like 80 times a game. And but anyway, still, Michael Stewart from Talkwitz, your new inland area career catches leader with 194, passing Khalil Sharp.
Yeah, no, an incredible career for Michael Stewart. I think that he really came on the scene his junior year. And this is a guy that hasn't gotten a lot of attention from colleges. I think whatever college is smart enough to scoop him up is going to get themselves a surprise. I think it's a little crazy. You see some of the other guys out there who might run a 4.2 or 4.3 but aren't great catching the ball. Michael Stewart comes down with every ball. He's healthy. I mean, he plays every game. He plays it well. He can block downfield. I mean, this is a complete receiver who, at the end of the day, does everything you want and need a wide receiver to do.
All right, a couple other guys who broke records, some kickers.
Yeah, so James Camacho over at Citrus Hill set the Inland Empire record for touchbacks in a season. Finished with 84, and that's obviously a huge accomplishment in terms of field position. You know, any special teams coach or head coach in general will tell you, hey, touchbacks prevent the other team from returning it. Makes a huge difference. Camacho was a very big part of Citrus Hill's success this season, winning the field position battle. You also have, you mentioned Michael Stewart, Trey Watson set the area record for rushing yards in a single game with his 519-yard performance. Centennial's offense as a whole in that Upland game set the single game records for rushing yards and total yards.
It's ridiculous.
When you consider, I mean, the Inland Empire has some pretty proud football history back, Fontana days, all the way back, even if you want to go way back to, Barstow back in the 30s. I mean, there's a lot of history and success in the Inland Empire. Centennial setting the team records is amazing. Then you have you have Brandon Scott. Now, it's not an Inland Empire record, but the Yucaipa wide receiver set the San Bernardino County record for both career catches and career yards. He's another guy that I think went way under the radar in terms of recruiting. 6'4", great hands, surprising speed. I think that Nevada might have done the recruiting job of the year of the Inland Empire.
Get him.
Getting him and Victor Gonzalez. I think those are Pac-12 players that are going to go play in the pistol offense and are going to do some real damage out there.
I completely agree. The Wolfpack hit the gold mine in terms of receivers. They got arguably our two best, maybe outside of Michael Stewart, that were seniors this year, headed to Nevada. Hey, Landon, why don't you come on over here, and we'll thank Adrenaline one more time, Adrenaline Athletic Training here in Corona for hosting our show. Go ahead, have a seat.
Have a seat.
And, Adrenaline's done a great thing all season long. We've bounced between Corona and Riverside locations, but they're always hospitable, and we really appreciate it, and hosting us on the Blitz every Wednesday night. Well, we can't wrap up the football season without
I see what you did there.
a wrap. Do you see that? Rap. We've got a local star right here. This is a treat. We've got Legend, a.k.a. Landon Lane over here. We'll just call you Legend, though. What's up, Legend?
Thanks
for joining us.
This is Kyle the Wild Child.
Yeah.
Mr. Pep in the Step. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Now, Legend, you burst onto the scene when we first heard that the Smudge Pot rivalry rap. You had a one for Redlands, what was it, Beware of Dog, right?
Yeah, Beware of Dog, absolutely. Now, that was a real treat to actually do for those kids and for the coaches. Just to see them get amped up every time they hit the field it was mind-blowing, so it was really cool to see.
So you're a San Gorgonio grad, class of 2006, but the Redlands rap was your breakout. How did that come about where they asked you to make that?
Well, actually, I was thinking about doing a song first for San Gorgonio, but since I had so much close ties with the coaches, with my cousins actually playing for the varsity football team at RHS, Marcus Durham and Tracy Cawley, and they just really wanted me to go ahead and do a song for them, and it would be so awesome if you can do a song for us. That would be really cool. And I was just like, okay, well, let me see what I can work with, and I'll get back to you on that one. And sure enough, about a week later, had the perfect beat, the perfect lyrics that I actually wrote down, and they loved it. They loved it. It was really intense. It was really intense. It was cool. It was really cool. Yeah.
So when you go to flow, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Do you go with the lyrics first, the beat first? I mean, do you know?
You know what? When it actually comes down to writing for me personally, it's first I have to have the beat, because once I don't have the beat and just writing, you're just basically writing poetry. And then you got to have like a delivery when you want to record or when you want to perform. So I have to have a beat first in order to see how my voice is going to sound. So if it's not a live hype beat to get the kids up off the ground and get the parents off the bleachers, then it's not going to go well for the kids to actually get hyped. So I had to make sure that there was a good instrumental that was actually hype for them.
You produce it as well? I mean, do you do it yourself?
Actually, a good friend of mine, call him Hands, CBE, Chunky Boy Entertainment. yeah, it's a good friend of mine. He actually records my stuff. He's been recording my stuff for a very long time. Especially the latest project was the HSGameTime song. So proud to do that. It was amazing. It was fun writing it, because it was a challenge for me to write something completely different, go outside the box, and see what I could really do with my talent. So
before you started rapping about high school sports, what were some of your other topics you really hit on?
Just basically real life situations, poverty, relationship issues, things like that, financial problems, just anything that, resort to more of a struggle, as to try to, just get in a good upbringing. And that was my inspiration, just looking like on the outside looking in, just to see what people actually deal with in my own personal affairs that I've dealt with. So I write a lot of personal things in my music. So yeah, definitely.
Well, let's listen to the song. We'll talk on the backside, but we got to put this out there. It's the world debut of the HSGameTime Anthem, right? The anthem.
Yeah,
so
I definitely called it the anthem. It was nothing short but an anthem. It's really cool. I hope you guys enjoy it.
I'm stoked. Do we start to finish? We'll listen to the whole thing?
Let's see. Yeah, we're going to listen to it. It's about 2.5 minutes, and then we'll talk on the backside. So here's the HSGameTime Anthem world premiere right now. Let's see if I can crank it up.
Legend. CBE Productions. Game time. The season's over, but we far from finished. Relax and enjoy this song from start to finish. When it comes to making bars, I'm a chemist. There's no historic transfers. The Redlands without Marcus in it. Colton leaving Norco to make Marietta better. And Trey Watson from Centennial clearly setting records. My name ain't in lights till it's spelled with every letter. Heritage making it rain with winds. There's some crazy weather. Coaches trained for most to change. For example, Blake Barnett, Notre Dame. Never heard of a legend, well I go by the name. This an anthem for game time, it's supposed to bang. These boys are worthy of NFL picking, and once I see them on the TV direct, I'ma need them NFL tickets. We about to explode, so best hit the deck. Tune in to game time with Mr. Pep in the stead. It's a touchdown, cause we are in the zone. It's a touchdown, away or right at home. I'm a legend every day and on the microphone.
Boys got a bright future, cause they seem to be on.
This is I'm a legend every day and on the microphone.
Boys got a bright future, cause they seem to be on. This is
hopefully you understand me. If I work hard, I'll be anything I can be. Stats show itself, and I'm hoping the fans see that it takes skill of being undefeated. San G, Ramona making a comeback in the season. They doubt the talent, nobody believed it. Well, now you've been advised. Don't be surprised when you show up to the playoffs. Is waiting there is best. Tell the guys that the best has arrived in the flesh. Nothing less than on press enterprise. This a knocker. Indy field, we coming to conquer. Sportsmanship, shout out to Jordan Walker. Y'all running cause they stretching the time, but there's nothing that can push through our defensive line. It's time for football, and the season is mine. 4th and goal, y'all know the referee for the sky. It's a touchdown, cause we are in the zone. It's a touchdown, away or right at home. I'm a legend every day and on the microphone.
boys got a bright future, cause they seem to be on.
This is I'm a legend every day and on the microphone.
Boys got a bright future, cause they seem to be on. This is
Well, man, I'm impressed, Legend. Great job. If I had a free hand, I'd be clapping for you right now.
That was awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was really fun writing it and actually recording it. It was just a blissful experience, and hopefully in the future, if there's any schools out there that just need a little push,
Yeah.
a little bit of inspiration, something to actually get them pumped up in the locker room before they hit the field, I'm the man.
So I first got wind of you with the Redlands rap on Twitter. I just came across it on Twitter. I listened to it and I said, "Whoa, we got to get this guy on the show." So Kyle, we played the Redlands one on the show, and people said we want more. And then I hit you up and said, "Hey, can you do us an HSGameTime one?"
I get a text message from Mr. Pep in the step. I get a text message. I'm like, "Wait a minute," and he's just like, "Yeah, we're gonna need a song for our show, especially with the season over.
Yeah,
we would love to have a song." I was all like, "No doubt, I'm gonna do it. No questions asked." I mean, I just love to see how people get electrified with like the music that I write, because and instead of just me sitting there enjoying my own music, it's also a real blissful experience to see other people enjoy it. So it's this guy right here. Yeah, but absolutely. It was great. It was great recording it. I hope everybody enjoyed it, because I was nodding my head for sure.
So we're gonna take the lyrics from that song and we're actually gonna publish them in the newspaper. I think like Friday or Saturday. So if people want to check out the words. I know the players like to see their own names in it. So if they want to check it out.
Absolutely. And also my cousins, the parents of Marcus and Tracy from RHS, Deshelle and Chris Cawley. They're also working with me as far as specifically for the kids that I mentioned in the song, that they get their own personal copy of the song. So that, especially Jordan Walker, you know what I mean? So and that that's a really big deal for me. So as soon as like everything's perfectly set in stone, you guys get the lyrics, everybody reads them, Press Enterprise is happy, I'm ecstatic. It's going down. Absolutely.
Win-win for everybody here, right?
Yeah.
So what's next before we get you out of here? What's next for you?
You know what? If anybody could just hit me up on Twitter, Hooded Messiah, at Hooded Messiah. It's spelled just like it sounds. Just go ahead and follow me. Let me know what you think as far as my music is concerned. And if you guys need any more songs, then I'll be more than willing to do it. More than willing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah,
it's good
and
stuff.
Legend, here's the deal. So I have the video uploaded to YouTube, and we have another video server called Vidcaster, but I put it on private because we wanted to make sure the world debut was on our show.
Absolutely.
So later tonight, I'll go make it public. So if people want to find the song, find it, put it on your Facebook wall, retweet it and put it out there. Wow, we'd really appreciate it as well.
Definitely get that song out there because, just like I said, it's a knocker, and I love to see, the kids actually get excited, and I know they're gonna get excited for this song, especially, when they hear their names. Oh my God, he just mentioned me, and yeah, of course, I've done my research. Yeah, I know what's going on in my hometown, so especially. So yeah, that's pretty much what's next for me is whatever knocks at my door.
Awesome. Thank you, Legend.
So much,
we appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, man.
Wild Child.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Kyle the
it.
Wild Child, man.
I'm good with it.
I love that.
Right,
thank you,
so
Lane. I
much,
appreciate it. You're free to go, man, and I'll hit you up and we'll get the lyrics from you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll send them to you tonight.
You're awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean,
Look
just
at that.
the creativity. That's cool. I mean, we see so many times people get talked about in maybe some usual forms, newspapers, online. But for a guy to take, the time to come up with his own rap, his own beat, write the lyrics, record it, I mean, that's something so unique and so cool. And that's something I think for all the kids involved, they're going to remember that. Like, hey, my name got dropped in a rap video.
You know what? You can tell he's a smart guy.
Oh, yeah.
And we all watch Sesame Street. We know how to rhyme. But putting together a rap like that is difficult. I mean, you can't just sit down and just hash it out. I mean, you could tell he actually spent some time and then went into the studio and put it down.
The originality of the lyrics is probably, more so than a lot of what's on the top 40 charts today.
What's funny is I ran into I won't say what radio station, I ran into a local DJ who's also an assistant varsity basketball coach on a local team. Wonder if I can slip him this song and see if we can get some airtime for our boy Legend. But he did a great job. I think my favorite line, Kyle, was Colton Gerhardt. Colton making Murrieta better.
Oh, yeah. Nah, it's good stuff all the way around. I mean, you can't help but love it and nod your head a little bit.
Absolutely. So here's the deal. So we'll keep the song in the Blitz. So if you watch the Blitz again later on, and you can share the Blitz.
He dropped your name. There you go. A little screenshot.
He did. And he dropped the Press Enterprise in there as well. What were you, Kyle the Wild Child now? No, you got a new nickname. I like the big ticket, but come on.
Believe it or not, that was actually something my parents used to call me when I was little.
Kyle the Wild Child?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
It's back.
All right, there we go.
Back. So we'll keep the song in the Blitz. You can, retweet it, put it on Facebook, and we'll also have just the song on our HSGameTime YouTube channel and also on the site. All right, so we've got about 20 minutes to go burn through basketball and soccer real quick because we had so much time talking football, talking with Landon. But let's go to basketball and do a quick preview here, Kyle, because you've been checking out some tournaments, some teams, writing some preview stuff, and some kind of the players to watch things. So tell us a little bit about going into this high school basketball season right now.
Well, we're about 2 weeks in, and right now the cities of Corona and Riverside are producing multiple winning teams. Corona in particular, Centennial's the top team in the area, consensus, and they've shown that so far, 5-1. Corona's been an incredible surprise. They're 6-0, won the Big Daddy tournament, doing work right now down at a tournament in Whittier. In Artesia, and they're really having an excellent season so far. Santiago and Roosevelt both won tournaments to open the season. Norco's off to a nice start after a rough year last year. Really, the Corona-Norco School District as a whole has had a very successful start to the basketball season. I think Centennial and Corona are going to be able to keep it up. Roosevelt and Santiago, don't be surprised if they keep it up as well. Then Riverside, King, La Sierra, North, all tournament champions to start. Those three teams are looking great early on. Arlington and Pauley as well, looking very good early. So Corona and Riverside is really where the bulk of the basketball talent is so far. Down south, Marietta Valley and Temecula Valley, those are kind of the two teams to watch. Up in the San Bernardino area, Eisenhower might be down. We're not sure yet. They're the traditional power up there. Rev looks like they might be pretty solid, so we'll see. But right now, I mean, just this heart of where we are, the 91 corridor, that's where the best hoops action is.
And we've got the Riverside Kiwanis tournament taking place this week, championship game on Friday, and the Marietta Valley Nighthawk Classic between Marietta Valley and Norco High School, splitting the two sites. Quick shout out, because I got the video, we got to play it. Brian Gugliotta, a guard for
Yes.
Patriot High School.
That is a player to watch. I saw him a little bit in the Big Daddy tournament.
Yes, that's where we're going right now.
That's, we know about a lot of big guys, the Cedric Bearfields, the Justin Simons, but there's other guys like Gugliotta who...
Ethan Albano at Corona.
Yeah, but, Gugliotta, Chris Williams at Moreno Valley, those are two kids to watch that aren't getting a lot of love, but they can play.
Well, Gugliotta set a school record 37 points, and he hit that game-winning basket against Citrus Valley that we just had the video of. So I think Patriot is in the Riverside Kiwanis tournament as well, I believe.
Yes,
Does that
they
sound
are.
about right?
They are.
So Gugliotta, one of the guys to watch. Any other guys that, we should keep an eye on, maybe not getting a lot of love right now, or maybe a guy that, everyone's heard of?
I mean, Chris Williams at Moreno Valley is a freshman, averaging 24 a game. L.J. Harris was a big scorer at Citrus Valley last year.
Transferred, right?
Yeah, he was actually the leading scorer in the entire area, yet a lot of people didn't know who he was. Leading returning scorer, I should say. Transferred to San Bernardino, where he's replacing Kaleem Perkins, who was an all-everything
Yeah, he was a
superstar.
stud.
And Harris is doing, exactly what Perkins was, averaging almost 22 a game. So that's an under-the-radar guy to watch. Fred Bowden down at Norco, averaging 7 assists a game. He's an interesting point guard that could help him out in the Big 8. But then we've got the big names. Talon Webb at Roosevelt is a huge transfer over from La Mirada. We mentioned Ethan Alvano. Chris Lott at King is another superstar. King, they have a chance to compete. They're a sleeper. Deshaun Taylor is the new leader at North.
That's right, yeah.
Cedric Bearfield, Justin Simon are the two big college recruits. Nicholas Pete, 6'8" at Talkwitz. The guy's a monster. I mean, in terms of pure dominance taking over a game, there might not be anyone who can do it quite
he
like
could be
Nick
that
Pete
guy.
can. He absolutely can, and he's still getting better. He's only a junior, grew 2 or 3 inches over the summer, so he's getting bigger, stronger, faster, better, which is kind of scary because he's already huge.
Now, if Centennial's football team wasn't good enough, you have Centennial as #1 in the basketball rankings as well right now, with North on their heels.
Absolutely. Centennial, looking at all the state rankings, they're considered a top 10 team in the state. They had an early playoff exit last year, but with Cedric Bearfield and Deontay North, you've got 2 legitimate Division I players. You've also got a really good supporting cast, Khalil Ahmad, Jordan Griffin. I saw them last night play a very good Paris team. They can beat you a couple different ways. They can, inside, outside. They can play physical defense. They can, wow you on offense. Centennial's absolutely a contender. And with the creation of the open division, which I don't know if they'll be a part of, if they're not, they have a really good chance to take home a section title if they don't have to deal with the Etiwandas of the world.
That's right, there's some good teams they'd have to go through in the southern section. All right, let's go to boys soccer real quick. The Norte Vista tournament just wrapped up. That's one of the bigger ones in the area. The Tilson Cup still coming up. And Corona knocking off Riverside Poly. Now, going back to last year, Poly, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was like a 23 or 25 match winning streak to open, or I should say not winning, but unbeaten streak. I think they might have some ties in there.
The #1 team in our rankings by our friend Dennis Pope. So
That's
Corona
right.
already.
I got him right here. Yeah, he had Riverside Poly #1 and San Jacinto #2. San Jacinto went on to win the SoCal championship. Didn't win CIF, but they went on to win the Southern California championship. So Riverside Poly, a team to watch despite losing to Corona at the Novi tournament. And then San Jacinto has a big game on Thursday against La Sierra. So that's one to watch for sure. Now going on to girls soccer. Now, I had a chance to check out Great Oak last week. The Great Oak girls, #1 in our HSGameTime rankings, and I'll call up the video right now. They took on a Bloomington side, and according to our soccer guru, Dennis Pope, was very good, but Great Oak went on the road, picked up a 2-0 victory. And when you look at the rankings, Kyle, like a lot of sports, the Southwestern League kind of has their grip on at least 3-4 spots in the top 10, and Great Oak checking in at #1 right now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that throughout baseball season. The Southwestern schools were the ones that had the most success in the playoffs. Football season, Vista Marietta, Chaparral, both had great runs. Great Oak beat a lot of the better teams up here. And then, yeah, I mean, soccer, looks like they're, a force to be reckoned with as well. Basketball, it's not as clear. I think actually the strength isn't in the Southwest, but that could change by the time the year is out. There's no question. I think the Southwest is probably emerging as the most reliable geographic region, season in and season out, year in and year out, across the board, deepest in terms of athletes.
Dana Strauss-Snyder was a monster for Great Oak last week against Bloomington. I don't know if Pope has any early favorites for Player of the Year, but she certainly should be considered. So if you're looking at 3 of the top 6 teams in our rankings are from the Southwestern League. Great Oak #1, and for good reason. Followed by Citrus Valley. They've got a good thing going in the lower divisions. Santiago at #3, followed by Hemetz. They're a power. Temecula Valley and Vista Murrieta. Those are 3 of the top 6 coming from out of the Southwestern League. And let me call up some Temecula Valley highlights, because Temecula Valley, as we said, #5 in our rankings right now. And I've got some highlights from them as well. They're another one of these teams from the Southwestern League that, you catch fire at the end. They've got enough talent that they could actually do something and pick up some big wins down the road. Now, Nicole Robertson's one of their star players, but they have a freshman named Christine Maurer who had a hat trick in their last game against Valley View. And let's see, I think these are the highlights here. That's the Temescal Canyon one. So Great Oak, Vista Murrieta, and Temecula Valley are 2 of those teams that we're really going to have to watch out for out of the Southwestern League. It's going to be a battle like it is in boys basketball and anything else. I mean, there's 3 or 4 teams where they just take turns beating each other up, right. And there's got to be at least one team emerge. Although in volleyball, Great Oak kind of snuck away from the pack this year and did very well.
Yeah,
so.
And even in baseball, Temecula Valley, won with some room to spare. So we'll see. But it's always fun anytime you have a league that's so talented and so deep. I think it's a little more enjoyable than some other leagues where it's just clearly this one team and no one else has a shot.
All right, so there's our brief and quick previews for basketball and soccer. You got one more thing
I want to add.
Yes, of
Boys
course.
basketball, deepest league, either the Big 8 or the Inland Valley League. That's going to be interesting to watch which league produces the overall depth of talent, because right now those are the 2 leagues, 1 through 6 in the Big 8 and 1 through 7 in the Inland Valley League. They can all play.
Well, let me ask you this. So last year, the Rancho Verde and North battled back and forth. They each won on the opposing home floor. Is the Rancho Verde the team to maybe unseat North after that great year that the Huskies enjoyed, or is there another team out there that can maybe do it? Vista Del Lago?
I mean, Rancho Verde is the #2 team in that league until, proven otherwise. So that's a program that's consistently been good year in and year out. Arlington, Poly, Vista Del Lago are 3 teams that are all, much improved and have a chance to compete, take out either Rancho Verde or even North, on any given day. And then Valley View and Canyon Springs as well. Valley View in particular, not a team you can really overlook. So at this point, yeah, I think you have to say North 1, Rancho Verde 2. But don't be surprised if Arlington, Poly, and Vista Del Lago have something to say about that.
All right, and then over in the Big 8, early favorite?
It's got to be Centennial. And, in the preseason I wrote Corona, Roosevelt would probably be 2-3 in some form or fashion. The way Corona's playing, they might have a chance to beat Centennial. So they might have a chance there. But even, Norco and, Santiago, they're 4-0. Norco's 5-1. So even the teams that, you're not really sure about appear to have a chance. Centennial's 1, Corona's probably 2. After that, toss up, see what happens.
And over on the girls' side, Canyon Springs looks to be good again. They made it all the way to the Southern California Championship game last year, losing to Long Beach Poly. They won CIF. Murrieta Valley, also a team that won CIF. You just do boys basketball, right? But have you studied the girls' basketball landscape yet?
Not a ton, but you don't really need to be that in depth to know that Santiago and Canyon Springs are 2 of the better programs around. Even though Santiago lost Crochet Rowe, that program's always good, always competitive. And they bring back Monique Billings, who is literally one of the top 5 or 10 recruits in the entire country going to UCLA. Shan Greenhouse down at Canyon Springs going to San Diego State. So 2 Division I caliber players there. I think those are 2 schools that definitely, they had deep runs in both the CIF and state playoffs last year.
That's right.
I could see both of them doing it again this year.
Yeah, Santiago won CIF as well. Don't want to leave them out. They all went to the Anaheim Convention Center and won CIF, and then went across the street, went to Disneyland, because that's what you do, right, after winning CIF.
Pretty much.
All right, and on the topic of girls sports, I got those Temecula Valley highlights called up for girls soccer because I wanted to mention that through 2 games, they've outscored their opponents 11-zip, Kyle. They beat Temescal Canyon 5-zip and followed that up with a 6-0 victory against Valley View on Tuesday. Nicole Robertson, one of their star players, also Lorena Regalado and Sydney Magnan, but the freshman, Christine Maurer, with the hat trick against Valley View. So they've got a ton of talent. They go to the Heritage Tournament beginning on Thursday. So Temecula Valley and Great Oak two of those teams to watch in our rankings, and probably going to battle it out for that Southwestern League championship down the road. Unfortunately, they all play in terms of when they get to the playoffs against some really good Orange County schools.
Right.
So you get some good battles there, but at least for the league title, it will be very competitive in the Southwestern League, and Temecula Valley is one of those schools to keep an eye on at least.
You know, speaking of Temecula Valley, it's also wrestling season.
That
and
is.
That's, you know, Temecula Valley. Look, they're the best team around until someone says otherwise. Alan Steele will be our head wrestling writer this winter. But, you know, you don't need to be a genius to know that Temecula Valley is still the class program, and they'll probably do it again.
Yeah, the Battle of the Belt, which is a huge wrestling tournament right around the corner at Temecula Valley High School. And then Temecula Valley had a good run as a team. Santiago obviously did with they had a Christian Pagdalao winning a state championship. And then Derek Jones, we should maybe mention, he recently had back surgery last month, so he's trying to recover and defend his state title at 220 pounds. He won the state title in 47 seconds as a junior. Quite impressive. You can tell this guy has star potential written all over him, so we're wishing a full and speedy recovery for Derek Jones as he returns to the mat for Bloomington.
It's also girls water polo season, but I don't know anything about it, so I'm not going to say anything.
Santiago's good. I know that.
Hemet won a title last year.
Yeah,
so
Hemet's good. So
see what happens.
See, because of these guys, we still have our head, thinking about football. So once football season completely clears out, we'll focus more on these winter sports and actually make that full transition out of football season. So thank you to everyone here at Adrenaline Athletic Training. We really appreciate their hospitality. They're always great to us. And my boy Kyle, the Wild Child, wanted to thank Landon, right?
Absolutely,
Legend.
Absolutely. Guy's a good rapper, a good guy, and I'm excited to see what he continues to come out with in the years to come.
Yeah, he is a good guy. Well-spoken, educated. His rhymes were awesome. If I can use the word flow, he had a good, right? Is that what the kids say?
Sure.
Sure. So it was a great rap, so please check it out and send it to all your friends as well. For the Wild Child, Kyle Glaser.
For Pep and his step.
Yeah, that's right. I got a new nickname. All right, we'll see you next time on The Blitz, and thanks for watching.